Cassie Williamson, and my thesis project looked at the effect of a carbohydrate mouth rinsing protocol on post-exercise recovery. So it's been very well established in the literature that this carbohydrate rinsing protocol, which is simply just swishing a carbohydrate solution such as Powerade or Gatorade around your mouth and then spitting it out, can elicit these improvements in performance throughout exercise. And it's the interesting and fascinating aspect of this is the mechanisms have not been identified yet. So we don't know what's leading to these performance improvements. And in terms of what my study focused on, we were looking specifically at recovery following exercise. So within the field of sports nutrition, recovery is often overlooked because they focus on what improves performance during exercise. But recovery is equally as important. Adequate recovery is a marker of overall health, and it can also significantly impact an athlete's performance. So think of a student that stays up late studying and then performs poorly on the test. They're not adequately recovered, and therefore their performance is negatively impacted. So that was the significance of this study, was to shift the focus less on performance during exercise and more towards adequate recovery following it. So we brought our participants into the lab, took some resting measures over a 15-minute period, drew blood, had them do an exhaustive exercise protocol, took post-exercise measurements of blood, and then monitored them through a 30-minute recovery period. And following the 30-minute recovery, we had them exercise again to see if their recovery improved. Did it actually translate into performance? So the interesting part of what we found is that we saw improvements in performance during the exercise that was consistent with the literature. But the interesting part of it was that the placebo trial was actually the greater rate of recovery following the exercise. So our theory is that the performance improvements that occurred during exercise caused something physiologically to slow their recovery following the exercise. And we hypothesize, or we theorize, that it could be related to using stored energy because the body's actually being tricked into thinking that it's getting the carbohydrate when it isn't. Because there's research demonstrating that the higher brain centers actually are activated with the carbohydrate mouth rinse. So the take-home message is that athletes that may have to do multiple training sessions throughout the day or may have to compete in more than one event in a short period of time would not want to use this rinsing protocol because although it could improve their performance during the exercise, it could negatively impact the subsequent bouts of exercise.